Welcome to PTSD, Bunker Gear for your brain. I'm your host, Carl Waggett. Welcome to the evening PTSD report. Guys, happy Monday to you. What am I saying? Happy New Year's Eve. Yes, congratulations. Look, whether you hated it or loved it, 2018, she's out the door. That's right, we got a new one right down the chute, 2019. So guys, I do hope you enjoy your evening. You know what? It's just me and Jack in the house tonight. Yes, all the kids have gone out to respective New Year's Eve parties. Am I attending a New Year's Eve party? Sadly, no. But that's because I have no friends, and I'm good with that, please, because that allows me to stay here and do this show for you. Don't cry for me, Argentina. Seriously, we all have a role to play, and I think I'm starting to understand what mine is. So anyways, listen, guys, before we get on with the show, I just wanted to say I really hope you do have a great New Year's Eve, and everything works out in 2019 for you, because I think it's going to. So look, guys, before we get on with the show, I got a bit of an announcement to make. Look, I ran into this really great guy named Shane, and he's the owner of the Speaking to the Heart radio network. And you know, he heard our little show that we've got going on here and said, you know what, Carl, I kind of like what you got. And I said, well, that's fantastic. I'm really glad you enjoy. He said, no, seriously, I'm looking for a PTSD show for my lineup, right? And I went, you know, that's really weird because I have a PTSD show that's looking for a lineup. So things worked out wonderful. We shook hands, and now we're doing this Syndicated thing. Ooh, it sounds posh. I believe it's what Ryan Seacrest does. A little bit smaller than him, but hey, you gotta start somewhere, right? So anyways, guys, let's get on with the show. Enough with the announcements, please. So guys, what are we looking at this week? Well, guys, we're kind of bouncing off what we were doing last week. You know, this whole New Year's resolution, because guys, I'm not giving up on it. No, I think it's a hell of a platform to spring off of, so this is why I'm not letting go of this. Now look, last week we talked about this kind of power of change. Yeah, and once you understand how to change stuff, then guys, you can pretty much change anything you want. I mean, don't get me wrong, you can't change bone structure and shit like that, but hey, if there's stuff that you want to change in your life, guys, you're able to do so. So what are we going to take a look at this week? Well, guys, what we're going to look at this week is your brain. Yeah, and how it kind of operates. Because look, guys, can I tell you something? When you get your brain on board with what you're doing, life is so much easier. You have no idea. And look, this is the gift I want to give you in 2019 because I didn't get you anything for Christmas. Ooh, I'm such a cheap bastard that way. So look, let me at least give you this, okay? So guys, look, as I said, you know, when I first started with this whole PTSD, depression, anxiety thing, I was at a huge disadvantage because I thought it was all bullshit. Yeah, I did. Look, not that I say that PTSD, depression, anxiety is bullshit, but I just didn't see how you could get it in the fire service. Like, how could seeing something hurt you? That made no sense to me. I mean, please, don't get me wrong. If you're in a war and people are shooting at you, look, I can understand how that would play with your noodle. But hey, like I said, I went to bed at 11 o'clock and worked out when I didn't have calls. I didn't see how this was a problem. And to be honest, I really thought the only time people complained about bad calls was when they wanted the summer off. Yeah, seriously, you know, you turn to your Cap and say, hey, Cap, I'm having the bad dreams. I need a couple of months off to clear my head. I didn't think it was actually a real thing. So the problem is when this started happening to me, guys, do you think I stopped for a second and went, oh yeah, this could be PTSD? No, I just thought it was life kicking the shit out of me. Now look, guys, I've got to admit, okay, I do think different than most people. I know this for a while. I've always thought a little bit different than the masses. But what really started to bother me was when my actions were different than what I agreed with. And that's something that really, really bothered me because, well, I didn't really recognize what I was doing. I mean, please, I was acting of my own free will. Don't get me wrong. But the decisions I was making, I didn't agree with them anymore, right? Now, the problem is if anybody would have called me on this, I would have torn them apart. Seriously, no joke. Like, seriously, if anybody would have said, hey, Carl, you know, your life's coming off the rails here, I would have gone, are you joking? Why don't you take a look at your life? Holy shit. And I'd have just beat the snot out of them that way. But I'll tell you what, when the house went quiet, I knew the shit that I was doing wasn't right. I knew that, right? But the problem was I didn't feel like I could change it. And you know, this is what really, really frightened me when I made this conscious decision that I wanted to change something. And I for some strange reason, I couldn't do it, right? I couldn't figure it out. So anyways, listen, bit of a fun fact about PTSD. Look, it really doesn't do most of the dirty work. It gets its buddies to do all the dirty work. And when I say buddies, I'm talking about like insomnia, right? You know, that's one of the major calling cards of PTSD for the simple reason, guys, look, I had no idea that we had to process stuff we saw. Seriously, nobody told me this when I got hired. I learned about dash rolls and, how to breach a door and shit like that. But as for processing calls, you got to be kidding me. Well, look, see, this is what happens is that if we see stuff and we don't process it, well, our brain wants to figure it out. Why? Well, because it's a brain and not an elbow. And that's what brains do, is they figure out problems. But the thing is, when we're walking around in day-to-day life, our five senses are taking in so much information that the brain doesn't have a whole lot of time to, think about other stuff because, well, let's be honest, it's processing what it sees, what it hears, what it feels, what it smells. But what do you think it has to do when you go to sleep? Yeah, it's not taking in any information at all, is it? Right? So this is when the brain really starts to go to work and it starts figuring shit out. Well, listen, I'll tell you what, if you've got a few disturbing memories that you haven't really had a look at, well, sometimes when it's poking around up there, it will awake the beast. And this is what used to happen to me. Look, I didn't have nightmares or bad dreams or anything like that. Dude, I just woke up every 2 or 3 hours. And trust me, this will wear on you eventually. So, look, I figured I've got a way to fix this insomnia. Yeah, because look, I'm not going to doctors. No. Look, because if Carl starts taking pills to go to sleep, he's going to have to start taking pills to wake up. And I don't want to go down that road. But listen, I do remember when I was in college, there was a time that I used to fall asleep when I didn't want to. And it was because of alcohol. Yes, that's right. I'd go out to a party, wake up the next morning in a bathtub with a penis drawn on my face. Not cool. I'm not getting into it. But the fact of the matter is, I thought, hey, listen, desperate times, well, calls for desperate measures, right? So I called the drinking back up. Yeah, why not? I figured this would work. You know what? Bottom line, the only reason I really drank, well, was to sleep. Yeah, because, I drank, I'd pass out, and then at least I would sleep. Because look, guys, anybody who hasn't slept for a long period of time, desperation starts to kick in, right? And you need to sleep, right? You have to. Now, look, I know this is going to come up as a bit of a shock, but alcohol actually brings a few problems to your life. I know that's shocking, but guys, I never thought about this for a second for the simple reason, guys, well, really all I wanted to do was sleep, right? That was it. So the problem is one of the things that I found that really beat the snot out of me were these hangovers. Look, I'll tell you what, when I was, in my teens and my 20s, hangovers didn't bother me at all. But holy shit, in my 30s, look, I remember some hangovers where I actually thought there was a creature in my head trying to get out. Honestly, if I had a chisel and a hammer, I would open it up to let it out. These hangovers were atrocious. Now, let me ask you, what kind of mood are you in when you're hungover like that? Trust me, not a very good one. And when you're not in a good mood, guys, that's going to affect relationships around you. It can't not, right? So that's exactly what I found is that, okay, well, maybe I'm not getting along with everybody anymore. So guess what? Isolation gets invited to the party. Sure, why not? You know what? I used to hear all this shit about people can't drink alone. I never found a problem. I preferred to drink alone. Oh, yeah, I'd sit down in my basement. Because remember, guys, during these drinking times, look, I'm not going out to the bar hooping it up. No. Carl sat in his basement and he's medicating himself so he can get to sleep. Hey, I didn't know any better, right? So, you know what? It's not like I'm going to go around asking people about it. I figured alcohol was the way to go. That's the way I was going. All right, no harm, no foul. Well, look, I remember this time frame really, really good. It was around 2007, 2008, right? When I thought, okay, well, maybe alcohol is the way to go about it. Well, it didn't take very long before I realized, okay, Carl, this road doesn't go anywhere. Okay, you can't do this anymore. Okay, seriously. You can't wake up feeling like shit every day. And guys, can I talk about how much it cost? I'll tell you what, you never hear anybody talk about that with drinking, but holy shit, does it do a number on your bank account? I couldn't believe how much that habit cost. Well, anyways, all besides the point, I realized that, okay, enough's enough. I need to give this a break. The scary thing was I found it wasn't that easy. This really freaked me out. Because the problem was that, look, when I drank, I felt great, right? But when I wasn't drinking, I felt like shit. So guys, let's just say, for instance, I drank from 8 o'clock at night till midnight. All right, that's cool. That's 4 hours that I feel good. Guess how I felt for the other 20? Yeah. Isn't it incredible how your brain will actually take that 4 hours of pleasure and put up with the 20 hours of pain? Guys, this is what I was starting to experience. And guys, I wasn't cool with this feeling, right? Because look, my whole life I drank for entertainment. And now for some strange reason, I'm doing this because I have to. So I realized, okay, this has got to stop. All right. I remember coming to that conscious decision that, okay, enough, right? This has got to stop. But like I said, it was at this point that I couldn't. Or sorry, let me take that back. It's not that I couldn't. It's that I didn't want to. Yeah, what was really, really strange about this was, look, when I was in college, I drank like a fish. Are you kidding me? It was disgusting. Look, I went on a golf scholarship to Kansas, right? Honestly, I went down there. I remember going down there in August, 180 pounds. I came back American Thanksgiving. I was 220. I put on 40 pounds in that time frame. All I did was drink. You know what? Keystone Light, I remember that, and Natty Light. And I ate Whoppers. Hey, what are you going to do? They were 99 cents on Wednesday. Ooh, I used to load up on them. But the fact was that, look, I could drink as much as I want in college, but when I didn't drink, I never thought about it. You know what I mean? The problem that I was finding now that I drank, and when I wasn't drinking, all I thought about was, well, when was the next time I was getting a bottle of wine? This was strange for me because I didn't remember drinking being like this at all. Because like I said, in college, there really wasn't any hangovers. I drink my face off and then go a couple of weeks without even thinking about it. And now it seems that the hangovers are terrible and I need this stuff all the time. Well, anyways, look, I think anybody who kind of does a little bit of a dance with alcohol hits that moment of clarity where they realize that, okay, this has got to stop, right? And my moment of clarity came in the form of something that really wasn't that big of a deal. But for some strange reason, it really knocked me on my heels. So, like I said, the time frame's around 2007, 2008, right? Like 10 years ago. And, probably for like a good year, that was my constant thing that I did was I'd pick up a couple of bottles of wine a night and that's what I drank and I'd go to sleep. So anyways, around 11:30 or so, I finally peel myself off the couch and I walk up to bed. And I'm not even using a wine glass. I've got like this glass tumbler or something you pour orange juice in. I tell you, it was a mess back then. I would have drank out of a paper cup. I didn't give a shit. Well, anyways, I grabbed the thing of wine and I'm walking up the stairs and I'm giving myself the same speech I give every single night. It's almost like a habit to me now where I'm going, okay, Carl, you gotta stop this shit. Like seriously, this is not good for you. It's cleaning out your bank account. Your liver is not amused at all. But anyways, you know what? I make it upstairs. I finally gag down the last drink of wine, right? And I go to get into bed, and my ex-wife at the time, she had these coasters made up, right? And they had my kids' pictures on them. And Cody was about 2 at the time, right? And this picture with just a 2-year-old on a coaster, whatever. A lot of people had them, right? So anyways, I finally drink this bottle of wine, or this glass of wine. I put it down on the coaster, and I go to look at the glass, and there's still a little bit of red wine in the bottom. But when I look through the bottom of the glass, I can see my son looking back at me. And he's like 2, right? I don't know why that hit me so hard that night. Because look, even as I tell the story right now, it doesn't really seem that big of a deal. But at that point, for some strange reason, I had this flash in my head that, look, Carl, you have to stop this. Because, well, if you keep this up, okay, this is great. Your son's 2. He doesn't see any of this stuff. But do you really want your kid to see you like this later? Like, seriously. And from everything that I've heard about drinking, you don't want to wait to quit, okay? The more you drink, the worse it gets. So anyways, I had this moment of clarity where I was like, okay, that's it. I'm done. Like, seriously, I am finished, right? So anyways, I wake up the next day to go to work because, look, you want to hear something really messed up? Look, I always drink the night before I go to work because then I knew I'd sleep. Most normal people do not drink before they go to work the next day. But the thing was, is if I drank, I knew that I would sleep until I had to get up. I knew I'd feel like shit, but at least I'd get rest. Well, you want to know when it got really messed up? Do you think I didn't drink on my days off? Well, of course I did, right? It's funny how your mind all of a sudden starts to justify this. So anyways, this is all very weird. So anyways, I get up, I go to work, that's fine, right? And at the time we were working 4 on, 4 off, right? Our department now works 24-hour shifts. But the fact is that my relief for the day came in at 5 o'clock that night. Well, I tell you what, all day I wrestled with my mind about, you know what, I'm not going to get one. Oh, maybe you should just get one. No, I'm not going to do it. And I'm doing this back and forth. And the fact that I'm even having this inner dialogue bothers me, okay, because I'm thinking about it all day long. Well, let me tell you, by the time I got to 3 o'clock, between the hours of 3 o'clock and 5 o'clock, did my mind take a shit kicking. Honestly, it was like a courtroom up there, trying to justify everything. Should I get one? Shouldn't I get one? Da-da-da-da-da. Well, anyways, my relief comes in at 5 o'clock, right? Talk about a long day, because this is all I've thought about all day, right? And this alone is bothering me, because like I said, in college, never thought about it unless I had it, right? So anyways, on the ride home, right, I'm driving home. I'm like, okay, no, I'm not going to get a bottle of wine tonight. You know what? I'm going to drink an herbal tea. It'll be nice. I'll go to bed at 8 o'clock. It'll be fine. No worries. Well, you know how we all have this inner dialogue? All of a sudden, this inner dialogue starts to kick in and starts saying, you know what, Carl? Come on. Seriously, all you do is work. You don't do anything else. Everybody drinks. Is it really that bad if you have a bottle of wine tonight? This really freaked me out. Okay, because look, as far as I was concerned, okay, our mind was supposed to protect us and look over us. Okay, I'm consciously trying to make a decision here, and for some strange reason, it's like my inner voice is saying, no, you deserve the wine. Go have it. Look, more than confusing, all right? And guys, I pose the question, why would you argue with your brain? As far as I'm concerned, that is crazy, right? If your brain's telling you to do something, you should probably go do it, right? Now, here's a really difficult thing that most people don't know. Look, if you're in an argument against your brain and you don't know the battlefield you're on, you're going to lose. Yeah, your brain will beat you. And this is one of the big things with addiction, right? You know, if your brain likes something, it likes it, and that's all there is to it. So anyways, as I'm driving home, for some strange reason, my car magically pulled into the wine store. I don't know what happened. I can't be held responsible. But the fact is I went in there and got 3 bottles of wine because I felt I deserved it. Look, this was so messed up at this point. I remember driving home from the wine store that night. I didn't even have the radio on. I walk in the house, whatever. I put the wine on the counter because you know what? I failed, right? As far as I'm concerned. And you know what? As I opened the bottle of wine, I actually felt sad as I was pouring it out. Can I give you guys a word of advice? If you're ever sad when you're pouring a drink out, take a hint. Seriously. Look, I'm not going to tell you what to do with that situation, but just take a hint if you're sad when you're drinking, right? Because this is what I was doing. And look, it bothered me because I didn't have the willpower to beat it, right? And I think that's what really scared me the most. Because, well, okay, I always gave myself the speech of, I should stop this, I should stop this, whatever. But this time I actually made a conscious decision that I was going to stop it, and I didn't, right? This really shook me. It really did a number on me. For the simple reason, guys, is look, I've always considered myself a very strong person. Somebody who can stand up against the odds or whatever and overcome whatever's thrown at them. But the problem was I was starting to find out that I was extremely weak in areas. Okay, and the problem is, guys, those areas, those dark corners of us, those are the areas we don't like to look at. Yes, no, we keep those buried. We don't tell people about those, right? And the problem is when you don't understand those ones, guys, those are the ones that really go to town on you. Right? And this was what I was finding with alcohol. It had me, whichever I turned. The fact is that I felt better when I had it, and it was almost like my brain was telling me that I needed it. Very spooky, right? So the problem is I found this a lot with PTSD, depression, anxiety, was every time I tried to better myself in any way, it was almost like my brain was there to stop me. It was a weird feeling. Whether it be changing my diet or stopping smoking or, like I said, giving the wine a rest a couple of nights a week, right? Like, I'm not talking about cutting out all the time, but shit, we don't need to be drinking 7 nights a week, right? I even gave myself, well, why don't we go Monday, Wednesday, Friday? And what I found was I couldn't even do that. It was at this point, honest to God, guys, I thought I was cursed. I did. Obviously, I'm telling nobody about this, right? And the thing is, when you don't know anything about this, what else are you supposed to think but you're cursed? You're doing shit that you don't agree with. It's not healthy for you. Inside your head, you're trying to stop it. And for some strange reason, well, you can't. I actually thought I was on like this self-destructive mode is what I really thought. That, all the bad shit that I'd done in my life was now, well, it was coming back to me, right? And even though my very soul knew that I needed to stop this, it was like my brain wanted it. And all of a sudden I found myself in this really, really weird fight that I didn't know how to fight. And yeah, I'll be honest with you, it scared the living shit out of me. Because I really didn't know who to turn to. Because let's be honest, am I going to an AA meeting at this point? No, come on. I'm still convincing myself I don't have a problem. Honest to goodness, right? And this is the time that you should be seeking that. When you start to feel that, holy shit, I am no longer in control of the situation. But the problem is, asking for help, you've got to be joking me. We all try to fix problems on our own, right? And this is when it gets really, really scary. For the simple reason, guys, as far as I was concerned, it was just a matter of time before the ass end fell out. Yeah, something that I did really, really wrong because, I kept doing these bad things, right? And now all of a sudden I'm starting to think, well, Carl, it's just a matter of time before you push it too far, right? Maybe take one of those days where I come into work and I'm not feeling so good, right? And some over anxious acting captain pulls me into the office and says, Carl, I've noticed you haven't been signing your book lately. And, firefighting's not just breaking stuff. We've got to document stuff too. So I'm afraid I'm going to have to write you up on this one and let the PC know about it. Well, I can only imagine what I would say after that, right? And, the problem is that you can't come unglued at captains because it's not very good for your career. So I've heard. But the fact is that, guys, if I lost that job, that would pretty much be the end of me, right? Like I said, at the time, I'm 35, 36, no formal education. Where am I going to find another job? And I seem to be on this really, really weird railroad track where things are going bad. And the fact of the matter is all of a sudden I get this snapshot of my future and I don't see a whole lot of it. And I remember thinking, the last thing I want is my kids to see me go through this and watch the fall of their father. Because as far as I was concerned, there was no way out of it, right? That's truly what I thought. As terrible as it is, it was the first time that I'd ever seen suicide as being noble. And I can admit that. Because look, let's be honest, guys. If something happens to you and you die, you get 2 years' salary, right? So that'd be 2 years of my salary for my kids' university. And if that didn't happen and I lost my job and then I couldn't find work anywhere, and well, how are my kids going to go to university then? Look, I'm not saying it's right, but it's amazing what your brain will do and what it will convince you of. And the problem is this is exactly what I started to look at. I started to feel like I had no control. Okay? Anything that was going to happen was already set out and there was nothing I could do about it. And the problem is when you find that you're fighting against your brain like this can really kick the shit out of a person's self-esteem. For the simple reason, if you can't win an argument with yourself, how the hell are you going to make it out there? And I remember thinking that. So guys, look, this is exactly, you know what? New Year's Eve, and here I am rambling. It's no good. Guys, look, this is what we're going to talk about all week, okay, is how our brain, hey, it's a fantastic muscle. I'm not hating on it, seriously. But the fact is guys, when PTSD, depression, anxiety gets in there and really messes with the wiring, the problem is our brain, well, it kind of turns on us a little bit. And when that happens, guys, trust me, it's sad Mondays all the way through the week. It is, because you can never seem to catch a break. And guys, if there's one thing that I've noticed with this PTSD, depression, anxiety, guys, we can't afford any more fails, right? And with a new year right on the doorstep, guys, I think this is an incredible opportunity to, really change stuff. And if we understand the battlefield that we're in, guys, I don't think for a second that you guys won't be able to handle this, for the simple reason, I see what you guys overcome at work. Are you kidding me? Some of the most incredible scenes that I've ever seen. Look, it's you individuals that fix it, right? So being able to fight this battle, guys, I think you're going to be able to do this. But the problem is, if you don't have a roadmap, I'll tell you, it can get really, really messy. So anyways, guys, listen, as I would love to stay on here gabagooing all night, guys, I can't. You respectively have parties to get out to. There are people waiting for you. If not, there's phone calls to be made. I highly recommend. If you haven't talked to an old friend in a while, tonight's the night to do it. You should call them or text them. Text them's probably easier. But the fact is, you know what? On nights like this, you need to capitalize on, because, guys, believe it or not, fresh starts are real. Yeah, they are. I know life kicks the shit out of us a lot, and we don't think they are, but trust me, they really are. And guys, we're going to examine it all week, how we can really take advantage of this, what our brain is doing, because, guys, if we can get out in front of this, guys, we can fix stuff. Yeah, and we can make next year, hey, really quite something. So guys, I'm excited about this week for the simple reason I think it's information like this that will really turn a light on. So guys, as I always say at the end of every Facebook Live, guys, if you're having problems with this stuff and you need a bit of a support group that you're looking for, guys, I've created one. It's called the Bunker Room. Not only that, it's free. You can't beat the price. You send me a friendship request to Carl Waggett and I'll send you an invitation to the Bunker Room. Lots of really cool people in there, and you know what? They have a perspective on this whole PTSD, depression, anxiety. It will help you out a ton. Well, anyways, guys, I cannot thank you enough for joining tonight. I see 13 people are watching us. Guys, that blows me out of the water. I figured I'd be here gabbing away on this thing by myself. So, guys, you have made my year incredible. Seriously, you have. And, guys, I hope I can bring some information for you in 2019 that will help out the situation a little bit. Well, as long as you don't go through the shit I went through, then, guys, I'm a happy man. You guys take care of yourself. As I always say, get out there, get yourself in trouble, have fun tonight, and we'll see you guys in the new year. You guys take care.